Welcome back everyone to the round 6 of Norway Chess 2024 between Carlsen Magnus and Tink Liren that you can see on the board, and Carlsen Magnus as white begins with knight to f3 where Tink Liren replies with d5. Now comes the move g3. Then comes knight to f6. Both of them are playing normal, and then comes bishop to g2, development of bishop, preparing for castling in the next move that you can see. Here comes c5. Now you can see that this pawn is controlling the center. I mean, both of these pawns are controlling the center. That is a good point. Now comes castling as we discussed. Then he plays e6. So comes c4. Now Magnus Carlsen opens the game by playing c4, attacking the central pawn, and if it takes, then he can begin with check, where in the next move he can capture this pawn. Now comes d4. So Tink Liren pushes the pawn as he wants to create the control on the center, and maybe in the next move he can develop this knight and can push this pawn forward. So comes e3, attacking the pawn at center. Knight to c6 as we discussed. Then Magnus Carlsen takes the central pawn and black also takes back. Now comes e3. So these positions for Carlsen Magnus, he developed his bishop. Also he blocked his pawn from coming to front at the same time. Now comes bishop to d6. So he developed another knight. Tink Liren castles, and then Magnus Carlsen begins with knight to g5. Now he is creating a open diagonal for the bishop that you can see. Also he is bringing the knight to action. Maybe he can play this in the next move. And if black captures, then he can capture it back from this knight and can develop this bishop. Here comes bishop to e7. Now the move bishop to e7 was played by him, maybe because he thought that in the next move he is going to play this, it will be attacking the bishop. So why won't he play the bishop back? Now comes f4, then comes rook to b8. Now comes queen to e2. Magnus Carlsen develops the queen also. Then comes queen to c7. Now comes g4. So you can understand that he is pushing the pawns forward to attack the king's territory that you can see. Then comes b5, attacking the pawn. So b3, because Magnus Carlsen don't want to destroy this position, and if it takes, then he can capture from this pawn, creating a close position once again for this pawn. Now he played Tink Liren also captures, and Magnus Carlsen captures back. That comes rook to b6. Now come knight to e4 that you can see, developing the bishop and bringing this knight to action, attacking that knight. So Tink Liren understands this position and he takes the knight, and Magnus Carlsen captures back with the knight. Now comes bishop to b7, developing the bishop. Then comes f5, creating the clash on the pawn. And comes Tink Liren captures the pawn and he captures the pawn with his pawn. Now comes knight to e5. So you can see that Tink Liren has created a long diagonal attacking the knight that you can see right now. Now comes bishop to f4. So Magnus Carlsen takes an advantage of this bishop to f4 since he is pinning this knight, and this knight cannot be moved anymore. So first of all, Tink Liren has to play bishop over here, then only he can move this knight. Let's look for what he did. Okay, Tink Liren begins with f6, protecting this knight that you can see, and in the next move he can remove his queen. Then comes rook a to e1. Now comes bishop cross e4, where he takes the knight, and Magnus Carlsen captures the bishop by his queen. So comes bishop to d6, creating an extra defender for this knight. And if Magnus Carlsen tries something to create an extra attack on this knight, so he can play this rook over here for protecting it. Now comes king to h1, then comes queen to c5, and comes bishop to g3. Now comes rook to d8, then comes queen to e2. Now comes knight to d7, attacking the bishop. Then comes bishop to f2. Now comes bishop to e5, protecting this pawn, creating an extra defender that you can understand. Bishop to d5, giving a check. And as I told you, that bishop at the center is very important since it attacks on all the direction that you can see. Here comes king to h8, and then comes queen to h5. Now, actually, queen to h5 is an inaccuracy, since in this position we could have played rook to g1. That is a best move. And after rook to g1, he can play rook to g4 and can make double rook attacking this pawn. But he didn't understand this and he played queen to h5. So comes queen to f8. This is an inaccuracy once again. In this position, what he can do is he can play rook to b2, and that is over here. As per computer analysis, rook to b2 is a good move. Here comes queen to f8, and then comes rook to e4, which you can see. And now rook to e4. What you can understand by this move? You can understand that he is going to play rook to x4 and can deliver the checkmate, right? And as per computer analysis, this is a mistake. In this position, he could have. So in this position, Magnus Carlsen plays rook to e4, which is a mistake. Now, why it is a mistake? Because in this position, he could have played bishop cross d4, and if black captures, then comes rook to f4, attacking the bishop, and if bishop goes back, then comes brilliant queen sacrifice, where if it captures, then comes the checkmate. But he didn't saw this and he missed that checkmate pattern. He played rook to e4. Now comes a blunder, that is rook to b2, which is a blunder. And checkmate is completely unavoidable. Here, Magnus Carlsen delivers the checkmate by playing queen cross x7, brilliant queen sacrifice, where Liren resigns. Now, what do you think about this? Let us say if it captures, then comes the checkmate. So this was the game between Magnus Carlsen and Liren, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So please do like and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.